Hey everybody, we are back with our next Watercolor Wednesday. The next lesson in this Learn to Watercolor book by Lacey Walker at Rebel Unicorn Crafts. I'm in no way associated or connected to them, but I picked up this book at my local Joann's, which, by the way, I'm sad that they are closing. And it's a neat little book because you open it up and the first half has all of our lessons. And then the second half has all of our pre-printed images. So that's pretty cool for beginner watercolor. I'm really having a blast with this. And as I've said in the past, I don't know that I showed this last week, but I really am enjoying the finished pieces. Like once they dry, I just am really enjoying them. And so much so that I absolutely love last week's. I love it. He turned out so cool. The only thing I just wish I had more splotches, but I've honestly been trying to decide if I wanted to frame him because he's so cute. He turned out so good. So anyways, if you're interested in watercolor, playing around with watercolors, learning watercolors, I highly recommend this book if you can find it online maybe. Yes, it's been a lot of fun, and I don't even know that I'm halfway through it, but we're just still going with it. So this week's lesson is Everything's Peachy. It was so good because I was thinking about this last night. It's funny when you think of things when you're laying in bed at night and you're like, did that have this? Did this look like this? And this morning I got up, I thought, you know what? I don't know if my peaches have that splatter background or not, but mine are going to have that splatter background because I really liked doing it with the whale. And again, I feel like I needed more. And so I thought, okay, I don't know if these peaches in this book, again, I was laying in the bed and I didn't have it here in front of me. And I was like, I don't know if that peach had splatters or not, but mine's going to. And so yay, I'm excited to see it does have splatters. So splatters make all the difference. So anyways, this is a kind of a 2-page. Oh, and this, look at this. This shows adding the splatters. I'm reading ahead a little bit. Adding the splatters after. I guess that is advisable. So you have like a really solid peach here. Whereas with this guy, it didn't matter because, you know, you had all your color everywhere. So, yay. Even still, we get to do splatters. So, let's read through this. Everything's peachy. Painting using the charging technique for a burst of color and shading. You may have noticed that the colors I use for this include pink, but there's not really any pink in this painting. I don't know that I have pink in my palette. So, I have a white and I have a red, so we might have to play around with mixing pink. Although, let's see here. You may have noticed that the colors I use for this include pink, but there's not really any pink in this painting. By using this charging technique, we'll be creating a custom reddish mixture right on the page. But then the color palette says Permanent Yellow Deep, Burnt Sienna, Quin Magenta, Prussian Blue. The color mixing says Peachy. I wonder if that's what she's talking about, pink. Shadow Purple and Dark Brown. Techniques are charging and wet on wet. Now, I've struggled a little bit with mixing color because, first off, I think I don't have the exact colors that call for in this book, so I'm having to make my own. I have my little cheat sheet here, but still, I think that's part of my struggle with this book is that I didn't, in the beginning, there was a list of supplies, what colors were called for, and I just kind of worked with it and worked with what I had. So there's something to be said for working with what you have, and there's also something to be said for following all the directions to a T and, you know, getting all the supplies needed. So it calls for a size 12 round brush, but as you know, if you've seen any of these, I have a size 11, so which has been fine, because anything bigger than this, I would have struggled with, because to me, some of this guy's a little too big, but we're working with it. So, step 1, for the interior pulp of the peach, I got myself taped down here. Paint an even layer of yellow permanent deep at a satin wetness level. Okay. Let's see. I'm just going to read ahead, because I don't know when I'm going to have to come in with my mixed colors. Okay, in step 2. So let's go ahead and mix our mixed colors. Also, I live by an airport, and my windows and doors are open because the weather's nice. So that was just a plane that just went by. Anywho, let us mix our colors so we have them at the ready whenever the steps call for them. We're doing peachy, shadow purple, and dark brown. Get some water on my palette. Again, I'm not sure if I mix colors exactly how they're supposed to be mixed with the 50% and the 40% and the all that good stuff, but we just do with what we just go with it. So color mixing, peachy, 50% permanent yellow deep and 50% quin magenta at 30% saturation. So yeah, that's where I get off with the 30% and all that. 50% permanent yellow deep. That is this guy. So let's get some permanent yellow deep going on in here. I don't know if you guys can see. Let's scoot you over. Actually, let's scoot you back a little bit. So you can see kind of the whole menagerie. So we got permanent yellow deep and 50% quin magenta. Quin magenta is 1, 2, 3. Eesh. That is very quin magenta. So let's add some more yellow to get more of a peachy color. This is showing very light peach, but we're gonna just go until I feel like it's peach. Almost there. I feel like I need a little bit more yellow. Okay, that's feeling a little peachy. A little darker than what's on the paper, but that's okay. We're gonna roll with it. That looks peach. Does this look peach? I might need another dab of yellow. Okay, there we go. I'm okay with that one. Yep, I'm good with that. Okay, so we have a peachy color. Uh-oh, we can't be running over there into our next well. Can't be doing that. Can't be doing all that. Okay, sorry about that. I had a phone call. Peach, and our next color is shadow purple. So 50% quin and 50% Prussian blue. Quin magenta, that's our reddish color up here. And then Prussian blue. This one may be tricky because shadow purple. I'm gonna add another touch of a darker purple. I mean, darker blue. Yeah, I'm good with that as a shadow purple. It looks pretty on the paper, my test paper. Dark brown, 75% burnt sienna and 25% Prussian blue. So burnt sienna. And then 25% Prussian blue. So that tells me just a little bit of Prussian blue. Come on, let's get a dark brown going on here. That's a pretty dark brown, so we're gonna go with that. Okay, now that our colors are mixed, for the interior pulp of the peach, paint an even layer of yellow permanent deep at a satin wetness level. Grab a tiny bit of quin at the creamy texture on the tip of the brush and add along the pit outline. Okay, so let's get started first. Interior pulp of the peach. Now, let's see here. It says repeat these steps on the little slice. So I think what I'm going to do is do them all together. You know, because we're a rebel. So even layer yellow permanent deep. Yellow permanent deep. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, let's just go out of the line, shell. Oh, yeah. It may be that we have to do these one at a time because of the wetness and all that. We'll try it though and see what we can do. Yeah, we're going to have to do these one at a time because I already feel like this is drying faster than I need it to. Okay. Layer of the yellow. Grab a tiny bit of quin magenta at the creamy texture tip on the tip of the brush and add it along the outline of the pit. Add along the pit outline. Quin magenta, 1, 2, 3. Well, that's a big bit right there, but that's okay. We're just working with it. Allowing it to mix and bleed softly out. You're charging the pink into the yellow. Are we? You might take a layer, a couple pinks dropped in lightly to achieve the color and bleed you want. Okay. I actually think it needs a little bit more water to make that happen. Personally. Because, you know, I know all things watercolor. Ooh, now we're going to bleed big time. Follow the instructions, Shell. Just follow the instructions. Okay. Once the inside is painted, the rest should be applied a little drier, more towards damp stage, with a bit of the creamy consistency Quin Magenta. Lightly swipe along the outer rim of the pulp to create the skin color and let it softly bleed in. Okay. So tedious. My hand's a little shaky, so. Okay. Lightly swipe along the outer rim of the pulp. Let it soft. Repeat these steps on the little slice. Let it sit for a minute or two to blend, and let this dry or make it dry. I don't really feel like it's blending. So I'm repeating our steps. I'm adjusting these because they look like I planted the dots there, and they're not really not doing what I think it should. Okay. And a teeny little bit on the outline. Ugh. I'm getting a little crazy there, Shell. That's a little thick outline. Okay, so at the current moment, we're on step 1, and I'm really not liking the peach. let sit for a minute or two to blend, and then let this dry, or make it dry. Okay, before we hit it with the, I think it's gonna dry. It's dry. It's blended as much as it's gonna blend. I'm gonna dry this and read ahead. A water puddle there going on. Okay, let's try this again. I'm trying to tap that little water puddle there. Okay. Now, step 2, paint the custom peachy color on the middle part of the peach skin that is visible. While it's still wet, add a little custom the shadow purple color, dropping it right along the top of the pit. This is going to create a little shadowing to show it's sunken in. Repeat these same steps for the skin on the slice and drop the shadow color lightly along the bottom. Okay. Paint the custom peachy color in the middle part of the peach skin. Our custom peachy color. Let's see how well it works. It's pretty peachy. It's actually really peachy. And then drop the shadow purple at the tip, I think is what it was saying. We got a little bit of too much water going on here. Okay, now we need to drop the purple. I feel like there's lines going on here. And I feel like it's not dark enough. We're going to cheat and tap into this dark purple here and give it a little bit of... Yeah, we're going to do with that. Okay. And then the light peach. Along this peel. We're going to have to do the same thing to this one too. Maybe I don't like my peach color. Maybe that's the issue. Have a glare. look at this, see what my glare issue is. Got a glare going on, that's for sure. Okay. Fill in a few of the textured spots on the pit with the custom dark brown. You can go over all the lines or fill in some of them. You're just using this as a layer to give a little texture, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Let this layer dry or make it dry. Okay, so we're working on the pit. We're going to use our dark brown and work in some of these little pit marks. She said I don't have to fill in all of them, but I'm not a fan of seeing the pencil marks on this, so we are going to fill them all in. This is tedious. You have to have a super tip on your brush. You know, this is not my preferred size of brush, as I've mentioned. But I will say this, the little tip of it does really well to do fine lines. So there is that. And I'm just following along the lines on this page, coloring them in. Some of them are just lines, some of them are like circles that need to be filled in. And there's not any on this, but I'm gonna, probably shouldn't, but I'm just gonna, yeah, probably shouldn't do that. The pencil line was bothering me. Okay. Let this layer dry or make it dry. So we'll shoot it with a little bit of heat to dry it up. It's going to take a minute to dry this because where I filled it in instead of just did the lines, there's like blobs of paint, so it'll take a minute to. Almost done. Okay, so the next step is, once the previous layer is dry, pick up some burnt sienna, about 50 to 75% saturation. Place this around the outside of the pit. Wash your brush and fill the middle of the pit. The middle of the pit will be lighter in color, which creates a 3D effect. While it's still wet, take some of the very concentrated custom dark and drop it along the edges. Let this dry or make it dry. Okay. So, burnt sienna, which I'm kind of nervous about because the burnt sienna is pretty like red. Fill it around the edge. Yep, that's what I was afraid of. It's like a, let's tap into this brown over here and see. Yep, it's a little dark too. Dang it. I'm just gonna have to work with it. We're gonna do more saturation on this. Because it's a little dark. She said go around it with our custom dark brown, but the brown I had was kind of dark, so I don't think, I mean, we'll add a little bit to it, but I don't think it's going to make that much difference, honestly. I don't like this. Okay. What do we need to do to fix this shell? I'm going to push my color out a little bit. Although it still doesn't look 3D to me. Move on. While it's still wet, take the concentrated custom and drop it along the edges. Let this dry or make it dry. It says you can stop at step 4, or if you want to add a little more color to this page, you can play with the paint splatters. To minimize the splatter on the peach, take some paper towels and fold them on top of the peach shapes. Then fill your brush with one color at a time, washing your brush in between, and tap your brush against your finger to make it splatter. Okay, so apparently we're done, and we dropped a blob of water on our peach here. We don't want that. I think what we'll do is, I don't have paper towels, but I have some little Kleenexes. So we'll do that. See what this does for us. Y'all are like, you just wanted to do the splatters. You didn't really want to paint a peach. You just wanted to do the splatters. And maybe so. It says the custom colors. I don't really know that I want brown spots, but yeah, I like the peach. Maybe a yellow. Get kind of crazy with it here. I'm getting crazy with it. Okay, shall we reveal? peach down there. I mean, some splatter down there. Yeah. Okay. What do we think? Do we like it? Do we not? I don't really know that I do. Of course, it may look different once it dries. I'll give it that. I just feel like it's very, I don't know, plain. That was a mistake. Why you do that, Shell? Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Yeah, there you go. Again, maybe I'll feel better when it's dry, but so far, everything's peachy. So, thanks for joining me on this Watercolor Wednesday. I'll be back next week. Let's see what our picture is next week. Next week, what do we have? Oof. Pining for Peonies. Oof. This looks difficult to me. It looks like there's a bunch of layers, but there's really not. There's just, well, there's 9 steps. Let's look at the page. At our, yeah, there's a lot going on in that, so that'll be an interesting little page to do. So, but for now, we've got some peaches going on. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye for now.